The Volkswagen Golf GTI is a powerful name. It represents 50 years of fast, fun, affordable German performance. And people love it. But it's 2025, and the Golf GTI has a new form, one that no longer includes the option for the beloved manual transmission. Without that, can the Golf GTI live up to its name?
This is the 2025 Volkswagen Golf GTI, the first Golf GTI since we lost its manual transmission. And I'm Alanis King. Let's go for a drive and stick around for the end of this video to get this Golf's full report card. The Volkswagen Golf came around in 1974, and the sportier GTI model came in 1976. The Golf GTI was this trapezoidal little thing, and it had 110 horsepower and a top speed of around 110 miles per hour, but some sources may tell you it was 113. The Volkswagen Golf model lineup as a whole, including sportier variants, was such a success that as of October 1976, Volkswagen said it made its millionth Golf. That's 2 years and 1 million Golf models. That's absolutely wild, and that success has continued. As of late 2023, Volkswagen said it had delivered more than 37 million Golfs worldwide. That's a lot. The Golf GTI typically sits between the regular Golf and the all-out Golf R hot hatch. It's a sport light model, like the Honda Civic Si. And you might be going, Alanis, I get that, but what does GTI even mean? It's an Italian phrase, Gran Turismo Iniezione, which basically means this is a fancy performance car with fuel injection. Yes, this is a German car that speaks Italian. It's like Gunther Steiner, but in reverse. Now you might be going, why does that injection matter? Well, when this car debuted in the 1970s and 80s, fuel injection was a big deal. Automakers wanted people to know when a car had fuel injection instead of those old school carburetors. You also see this in the Honda Civic Si, which debuted in the 80s. SI stands for Sport Injection because fuel injection. On the topic of names, you might think the Volkswagen Golf name comes from that sport you play when you want to go to the bar, but you also want to get sunburned at the same time. You would be wrong though. The Golf's name comes from the German word for Gulf Stream, just like the Passat's name comes from the German word for trade wind, and the Jetta's name comes from the German word for jet stream. This 2025 Volkswagen Golf GTI has a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that makes 241 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. That power goes through a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission to the front wheels, and you also get a limited-slip front differential. The transmission on this car is from Germany, and you might think the engine is from Germany or Mexico or maybe even Italy since we speak Italian in the name badge, but in fact, it's from Hungary. And I will save you a hungry joke right now because I'm nice. We are now doing a fun new segment where I just walk around this car and tell you cool things about it because it's right here in front of me, so I might as well. We start with these taillights. They say Golf in them, and I think it's really cool. Not a lot of people will notice it, but you will if you own the car, and that's important. Then we walk to the rear hatch, and something I love about Volkswagens is that they integrate the handle into the Volkswagen logo. It is such a nice way to do things. Once we open this hatch, you'll see that we have this red little safety kit in here. And you think, surely there are some tools in here to fix my car if something goes wrong. No, this is just an orange triangle that you can put out so people can avoid your car when something goes wrong. And because you're not smart enough to fix your own car, you're also not smart enough to not close your hand in the hatch. So we have little diagrams that tell you not to. And then, big surprise, you lift up the floor of this rear hatch and there's a spare tire, which honestly not a lot of modern cars have. So that's great. Down the side of the car, some cool features we have are a risen Volkswagen logo right here in the B-pillar area, which most people won't notice, but you as the owner will, and you'll think it's really cool. And on a $33,000 car, we have Power folding mirrors, baby. This is the same company that makes Lamborghinis. There are also a few cool and unexpected things inside the Golf GTI. One of them is that you actually have a 12-volt outlet, which I haven't seen regularly on cars since the early 2010s. Then we have this cup holder area, and it's kind of square, so you could put your phone or anything in it. And then if you need a secure cup holder, you press a button, and out pops a little circular holder right there. Another thing that is so underrated inside this Golf GTI is the seats, the shape, and the bolsters. Often when I get in a sporty car or a hot hatch, there will be really aggressive seat bolsters that are very narrow and fit for a square body, because a lot of the people who buy these cars will be men, and they just don't fit my hips very well. Seating comfort is super important. I talk about it all the time, and our partner, automotive supplier Magna, works on it for all body types.
Magna transforms the way people interact with their vehicles, blending comfort, convenience, and functionality. One of my favorite technologies is the ZG Lounger, which transports passengers to a world where they can rest and relax and recharge right within their own vehicle. The ZG Lounger has a zero-gravity mechanism, which enables maximum comfort and a luxurious passenger experience.
There are so many systems working behind the scenes in your car to keep you comfortable and safe, and Magna lets us learn all about them. So thanks, Magna, for supporting the channel. The Volkswagen Golf GTI is currently the base model Golf in America, and it starts at $32,445 American dollars. That is significantly cheaper than the top-level Golf R, which starts at $47,000. There are currently 3 trims of the GTI: the $32,000 S, $37,000 SE, and $41,000 Autobahn. This is a base model S, and there are no optional features on this particular model. After fees, the total price of this 2025 Golf GTI S is $33,670 American dollars, and that's a super competitive price. In the past year, I have driven a $35,000 Hyundai Elantra in and a $32,000 Civic Si. This is a good deal. Before we drive this 2025 Volkswagen Golf GTI S, it's time for the most scientific study we will ever do, which is how many Atlantises fit in this Golf GTI's trunk. Now, while I get in the trunk, I want to tell you about this key. I actually like this key right here, but I hate that the top material is a piano black style material, therefore it gets dirty and greasy with my fingers. When it's clean though, it looks like a classy key. I just wish it stayed clean. Now, we do not have a power trunk right here, so I gotta pull this down, and honestly, this is a solid 2 Atlantises. I removed the cargo cover because I needed to have some hope of getting in here, and I have it. I'm in. It's time to drive the 2025 Volkswagen Golf GTI S. And before we talk about how this car drives, which is really good, I want to talk about the interior. We're gonna start with styling and comfort in here. You can never go wrong styling an interior black and red and silver. And also the plaid is going to be huge, not just with car enthusiasts, because car enthusiasts love plaid, but also normal people. These seats, I feel like, are the highlight of the styling in the interior. They're cloth and suede, and it is the perfect combination because we have these aggressive bolsters, and the bolsters have suede on the outside. And that, I feel like, is going to prevent a lot of the issues you run into with leather or leather imitation seating, where they crease over time because you sit in them and you bend them and they just end up looking like they've been beat up. Also, these bolsters, although they are big, they are wide, and they actually allow a wider range of body types in them. When I'm in a lot of sporty cars, like for example the Honda Civic Type R, the bolsters are big and great and they hold you in well, but they squeeze my hips so badly because they are built for a more square, more male body type. They're not built for my hips. These seats feel much more built for my hips. These seats have an okay height to them. They're not super low to the ground. They're also not super high up in the air. A lot of people, I think, would prefer to be a little bit lower than where this seat sits. I'm 5'8.5", and I sit with my eye level where I have to look down to see my gauge cluster. So if you're taller than me, you're going to look down at a higher angle than this. And on the topic of helmet wearing in this car, we don't have a sunroof up here, which is great because it gives you more space for a helmet, and it also means you don't have something heavy up here, so your center of gravity is going to be lower. The steering wheel on this car, I think, is pretty nice. I like the way it feels underneath my hands, and it also looks good. It has red stitching on it and red accents, and it has my GTI logo so that I know I'm driving a Volkswagen Golf GTI. Overall, it's a good look, and it's a good range of sight in front of me. Some other nice touches up in the front of this car is that we have two cubbies. We have a big square one where you can put your phone and your wallet and stuff like that. And then you have a longer one, which I haven't quite figured out what that's for yet. It looks like you could fit like 2 pens in there. The cool thing about the long cubby is that it has a rubberized bottom, just like the big cubby. And that rubberized bottom comes out. So if for some reason you get stuff spilled in there, just take it out and you can clean it that way. The suede in the door cards of this Volkswagen Golf GTI, that's really nice. It matches well with the seats. It's a good touch. It's not just all plastic on the door cards. We also have a little bit of carpet material down below that. It just makes the door cards look like not an afterthought, like they were actually styled. And in terms of a couple of convenience features, we have 2 USB-C ports up in the front. In the back, we actually have air vents for the back passengers, which is nice because not every car in this class has that, and you get back there and it gets warm or cold. Now that we've talked about the comfort and styling features in this Golf GTI, I want to talk about another really important part of the car, the controls. One of the biggest headlines about the Golf GTI, aside from the loss of the manual transmission, is the capacitive buttons. And this is a big deal in any Volkswagen because Volkswagen is really invested in capacitive buttons right now. Capacitive buttons are just touch screens with button labels on them, and that makes it hard to tell what you're poking, where it is, everything like that. Not only that, but there are capacitive buttons in here that just don't make any sense to me. Like the fact that in order to change the fans, the only way I've found to do that is to press the fan button in the screen, open a fan setting, and then turn up the fan. You do have static controls on the screen for your actual climate controls, but you have single zone climate up here. So I can't have 2 different climate zones between the driver and the passenger. If the passenger starts messing with the climate, they're messing with my climate too. There are a couple of big drawbacks about the styling and design of this car. The first is something I always say, piano black. There's so much shiny black material in here, and I don't really understand it because of the fact that we have another really nice material in here that is very similar to piano black, and that is this silver material you see on the dashboard. It looks great. It's a similar thickness to the piano black, and I get it. This is a $33,000 car, so yeah, we need to save some costs somewhere. I just can't stand piano black. And the last thing I want to note before we talk about driving impressions is that these seats are actually kind of odd in how the controls work. So both my front driver and passenger seat have power, tilt, and recline. But then every other control is manual. So my height is manual, my slide forward and backward is manual. And if you owned it, you would get used to it very quickly. I'm still being very thrown off by the fact that one of the controls is power and the rest of them are manual. I'm like, wait, how do I adjust this seat? I don't know. Now it's time to talk about driving the Volkswagen Golf GTI. As a reminder, this has 241 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque, and a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. And the power in this vehicle is absolutely adequate and very fun for its segment, for its price, and for what it is. This is an enjoyable car to drive around town. It's also an enjoyable car to drive out on the good roads. The power feels great. And also, even though we are working with a turbocharged engine, you get that boost of power so quickly and so smoothly that you don't notice any kind of turbo lag or major hit of boost. You just have a lot of power throughout the range, and it feels so nice. Not only that, but this car is extremely well balanced. The handling is great. When I'm taking corners, there's not a lot of body roll at all. I feel extremely flat and planted to the ground. And also, we don't have rearing and diving of the vehicle. Some vehicles, you will hit the accelerator and the nose will rear up like a horse. Some vehicles, you will hit the brake pedal and the nose will dive down. You don't really get that in this car. The inputs are flat and they are balanced, and it feels so good to take this thing around a corner when you know how balanced it is. This Golf GTI is a front-wheel drive car, and front-wheel drive cars are known for understeer, which is when you give a steering input in a corner and the car doesn't turn as much as you want it to or as much as you are cranking that wheel. And I find that in this car, you'll have a little bit of understeer in slower corners, but overall, you have a lot of front grip and you're not experiencing extreme understeer in this vehicle. The suspension in this Golf GTI is firm but comfortable. There are some cars on the road that have a very firm suspension and they will just shake your brains out because of it. Honda Civic Type R is one of them, even though I absolutely love that vehicle. This is a comfortable suspension. So it's firm when you're out here, but you're also not just shaking around like that. Now, one weak point in this car that you could point out is the brakes. They don't have the most stopping power in the world, but I would say it's not a big deal on the street. When you're out here driving a good road, having fun, you're fine. You have enough stopping power. If you were on track, this car would probably beg for quite a bit more stopping power. And you know, that's fine. A lot of people will just have this out on the good roads, and it is plenty good for that. A very important topic in this Golf GTI is the transmission and how you as the driver interact with the transmission. And I will say the paddles on this vehicle feel like controls. They feel like plastic buttons. These paddles are plasticky. They are small. They are kind of hidden behind the steering wheel. I will say a very good thing about these paddles is that they move with the steering wheel. They don't stay in place. So when you are mid-corner, when you are anything like that, the steering wheel is moving. You have access to those paddles immediately without having to move to find them. But they're not the best feeling in the world. I wish they were metal. I wish they felt nicer. I wish they were bigger. I wish there were more emphasis on them because of the fact that Volkswagen dropped the manual on this car. And when you drop a manual on a vehicle and your now transmission is the dual clutch automatic, you have to make that dual clutch automatic part of the personality of the vehicle. You have to make people want that and people like that and people go for it. And you don't do that by hiding the paddles and making the controls less fun to use. You need to really own that this is a dual clutch automatic and that you are fast shifting and you are going. And speaking of fast shifting, this vehicle has very quick shift actions. What I will say is that it has this odd way of giving you feedback when you shift, right? So when I film car reviews, I end up doing passes that you see in the video when I'm driving by. And when I do that, I drop the gears down so that the car is louder. But what I noticed is that if I were upshifting after dropping those gears down and I were lower in the rev range, this car would actually delay its response to my shift. So I would hit the paddle and then I would have one beat and then it would shift. But when you're higher in the rev range, say in the 5,000 range, it will immediately shift. It's very odd that there's a delayed feedback, but when I'm driving, I'm sitting here wondering why my upshifts aren't taking as quickly when my downshifts are taking really, really quickly. But again, like I said, once that shift goes through, wherever you are on the rev range, it is fast and it is good. It's a great transmission. have just a few other things I want to point out about this car. The steering is heavy and it feels good underneath your hands, but it's not super communicative or responsive. You're not really feeling the road and feeling what the car is doing through this steering wheel. And that's to be expected. When you are steering and you are putting down power with the same wheels, there is a lot happening on one axis and you just can't really expect to feel a ton in the steering wheel when that's the case. The Golf GTI has a nice low speed rumble around town. And then outside of the car, when you're driving it hard, it'll crackle and it'll pop and it's really cool. But you don't hear the crackles and pops on the inside. And I think that's so sad. When I'm driving by my husband and he's filming these drive-bys, he can hear all these nice little crackles and pops. And I'm just on the inside like, huh, I bet that's nice. I wish you could hear those in here, but unfortunately you can't. In terms of highway driving, there is quite a bit of road noise inside this vehicle, but the lane centering assist is really good. It'll keep you in the lines, and I think that is so important, especially when you are in a daily drivable car. You want to be able to get on the highway and have the car be able to put in those minor inputs for you. It just makes drives so much more relaxing. And overall, this Volkswagen Golf GTI is really impressive, both for its price point and for its category as a car. Would I buy it over a Honda Civic Si or a Hyundai Elantra In or anything else? Honestly, not without a manual transmission, but that's me personally. If you're not someone who needs a manual transmission, this is a great car for the price and for the segment. And honestly, you're really gonna like it, because I do. Now that we've driven the 2025 Volkswagen Golf GTI S, it's time to give it a grade. Welcome to Alanis's report card. The exterior on this car gets a B. I think it looks really good, and when you're around town, people are gonna look at this and go, ah, that's classy. It's not super daring though, and it's not just going to get a bunch of people's attention, which is fine. That's probably not what you're going for anyway. The inside is a B minus. And I like the styling in there, but the capacitive buttons just kill it. Oh my gosh. I wish that I could change my climate and do all kinds of stuff without having to poke at a screen. Aside from that, it's very livable in there and I enjoy it. The performance on this car is an A. It feels great. It's so planted. It's so balanced. The only thing you may run into is that the brakes might not be as strong as you would like for them to be on track. But hey, this is $33,000. What do you expect? The value. I do not give these out much. I think I've only given out an A+ one or two other times. Is an A+. $33,000 for this car with this performance is amazing. I absolutely love it. Would I take this car on a road trip? Yes, I would. And it has lane centering, which would rock. Overall, this Golf GTI gets an A-. There are some things that bring it down, like the capacitive buttons, but this thing is a good deal and it is a performance bargain. I just want the manual back, please.
The Volkswagen Golf GTI surprised me. I entered my week with the car sad. Sad that I wasn't getting to experience the thing I know I'd love so much, which is a Golf GTI with a manual. I left my week with the car equally sad. Sad that I had to let something so good go back to its home.
The Volkswagen Golf GTI is an extremely fun and extremely affordable daily drivable hot hatch, and that's to be expected. Volkswagen has had 50 years and about 40 million sales to perfect the drivability in this car. And we're pretty close